What's up, everybody? We're stuck at home, bored as can be. Film the car, I'm too ugly. Bored as can be because of COVID. COVID's really bad right now in our area, so we just can't get out and do anything. Wife's at work. We're stuck at home. It's cold out. So we've been watching a lot of YouTube, watching a lot of different car builds and stuff. So we thought we'd make one about our Chevelle. This is a Chevelle that was owned by my dad. He passed away a couple years ago. So he had this, my mom and my dad here. This was his first Chevelle, green 69 Malibu. Had a 300 horse 350, a Muncie 4-speed, 12 bolt rear end. It was kind of a insurance beater. Had some of the super sport stuff, but wasn't a super sport. So that was his first Chevelle, and he always regretted selling it. And he ended up with this one in 1975. So this is, I don't know when this was taken, late 70s probably. So my dad had this car my whole life, and I remember being 3 or 4 years old the first time I ever saw it. He kept it. He didn't keep it where we lived, and when we bought the farm that my mom still lives at, he brought that car over there from wherever he'd been storing it. And I remember standing in the shop and watching him pull it in, just my mouth was hanging open, and asking if that was his race car, and he lied and said yeah. But so ever since that point on, I was just hooked on, addicted to cars. And anyway, he kept this car and never really drove it. I drove it a little bit in high school. We got to fix the brakes and had some vacuum leak, got it running, put exhaust on it. And I drove it for, I don't know, probably till 2005 or something like that, maybe 6. It was the last time it ran. So he passed away a couple years ago, and we it had an old car cover I put on there when I quit driving it. But my dad's his passion in life was the farm and cattle, and he just kind of kept, I don't know why he kept this car, I'm glad he did, but he just kind of stacked stuff on it and stacked stuff around it and had the trunk full of stuff. So we drug it out and got it running, and been working on it the last couple of years. Get this car cover off. So it was originally burnt orange was the factory color. But whenever he bought it, he was still in college, so he didn't have a whole lot of money, so he bought it wrecked. The story goes that somebody hit a cow, knocked the front end of the doghouse, or front clip, whatever you want to call it, knocked it off. And so it's kind of a long story, but I guess my dad always said it was new enough at that time that they had a hard time finding a front end for it. It was a 71 Chevelle Malibu. We had a hard time finding that front end in the junkyard. So this guy younger guy had a body shop, finally told him that I can get you a front end, but don't ask where it came from. So my dad said, I need a car, whatever, just whatever it takes, buddy, get the front end. So a couple of days goes by, this guy calls my dad and says, I got it. Stop by. So the dad pulls in there. Behind the guy's shop is a 72 Chevelle Super Sport front end with Illinois license plates still on it. My dad always assumed, he never asked any questions, but he always assumed that front end was out of a chop shop somewhere. So this might be a hot front end, I don't know. But anyway, he decided to paint it black. That's been painted since 1975. And that's a Imron paint. I think it was used on tractors and semis. It was kind of an industrial. It's real durable. Like, it's hard to scratch. It looks really good on video and on pictures, but it's monkey. Maybe we can show them some of the imperfections, but most of the time it sat in the barn. It was uncovered. You come down here, there's some scratches down there. Really looks good in under fluorescent light. But anyway, the paint's starting to, it's good. It's not that great, but it's perfect for us. We're planning on driving and having fun with it. The first thing we did was, in those pictures I showed, it had 14-inch Krager wheels. Back over there, buddy. And they were all pitted, and it had tires on it that were 40 years old, so I went and bought a set of torque thrusts to put on there. I kept the Kragers. They're upstairs. I can show them here in a minute. They're really cool. They're can't remember the offset on them, but they stick out farther than most of them you see. I think they're 14x7 Kragers. But he had them on this car and a 69, so I kept those and might re-chrome or something if I get another car or put them back on this car. But it had drum brakes on the front. It's not a real super sport, it's a Malibu. So the first thing I did was, I always had trouble with the drum brakes on the front. You'd let it sit all winter and the wheel cylinders would be leaking. So we converted it to disc brakes. It's got a right stuff detail, I think. Disc brake kit. So we changed the spindles and master cylinder. Came with that proportioning valve. I really like it. I think it's basically what a Super Sport would have had from the factory. It's just got a single pot, whatever you want to call it, caliper. But we've got BFGs. Had to go with the BFGs. Front and rear. These are 235 60 R15 and 275 60 15s, I think, on the back. I can't see. Yeah, 275 60 15s on the back. So then once we did that, drove it. I think we drove it. Didn't we drive it a year like that, Keaton, with the brakes and still had the factory everything? But it had a factory motor. It was a 245 horse, I think, 350, which I guess in 71 wasn't bad, but things were getting pretty low compression and doggy by then. So we pulled the motor out. Well, I guess I should start off by saying the reason my dad never drove this car much, but he kept it, was because his first car had a 4-speed and it had bucket seats. Well, this car had bench seat, column shift automatic. You want to film? So when I got it, I decided, you know what, my dad never drove this car much because he just didn't care for the automatic and the not having bucket seats. So I decided that's what I was going to do. So I found a guy, local guy, had a 55 Chevy Project, and he was going to put an automatic in it. It had an M21 Muncie 4-speed in it. So I bought the entire transmission. It had been rebuilt, had a Hurst shifter with it, clutch, the correct bell housing, everything. So I bought all that. I got a pretty good deal on it. And we pulled the motor out and rebuilt it. It's the original block. So it's the original block. I went on Summit and just ordered the Edelbrock Performer RPM top end kit. So it's got aluminum heads, got the air gap intake, and then part of that kit, I was actually going to put a Holley carburetor on it, but they had a deal going last winter. If you bought the cylinder heads and cam and the intake and all that, the top end kit, they threw in a free carburetor. So I thought, you know, everybody always says Holley's a better carburetor, but it's a 650 AVS2 Edelbrock, and it's a pretty awesome carburetor, really. I'm not a master carburetor guy, but it seemed like it's pretty easy to tune, and it just works. It's got Summit Racing long tube headers on it. It's got a Davis Unified Ignition, DUI, whatever, HEI distributor in it. We've got a Summit Racing aluminum radiator we put in it. And then I just went on the original parts group and ordered the Super Sport cooling fan. So it's got the 7-blade fan instead of the factory. I think the factory was 3 or 4 blade, but it runs good. It's got a March bracket system on it there instead of the factory original. I didn't like how this alternator bracket was huge. Upgraded the alternator. It's got Edelbrock Performer RPM fuel pump on it. And while I was out, we painted underneath the entire hood, and painted the frame. I mean, the hood was just original. It was over Camino. Trying to slide down, they can see it. We painted the firewall, put new. Apparently, certain Chevelles had metal fender liners. This one had plastic, so I ordered new ones because they were just busted all the crap. Those are a real pain to put in. They just didn't want to fit right, but kind of wish I'd ordered the metal ones, but that's what it came with, so that's what I put back in. But we painted all underneath here. Got it looking pretty good. I mean, better than the rest of the car, other than I didn't paint underneath the hood yet. But so that's under the hood. Then, you know, here's all our bell crank and stuff for our converter to 4-speed. That really wasn't too bad. That was, oh, another thing we did. I got all new wiring from American Auto Wire. That stuff's awesome. I will use that from now on. You always hear about painless. I've never used painless, but this American Auto Wire stuff, it was awesome. I mean, I'd never done any wiring. Of course, it's all just pretty much plug and play, but everything's labeled good. Went back like factory. I told them I had a HEI distributor and didn't run any of the 71s had some emissions crap on them. So I told them I didn't have any of that, so they made it up without it. But it worked really good. Still got my factory power steering pump. I did put a water pump on it back when I was in high school, so that should be in good shape. But anyway, it's a 9.5 to 1, 355 with Edelbrock Performer RPM top end. It runs good. I don't know what kind of horsepower we're talking, but it's a lot more than a hat. So then on the inside, we went with these Pro Car by Scat bucket seats, and they've kind of got the factory. If you look in the back seats, it's kind of the same pattern. So I'm guessing when they came out of these, they're like, let's just make them look like a 60s or 70s GM muscle car, because that's what's popular. But anyway, they're comfortable. I mean, their material's a little different, but most people look in there and don't have a clue that they're not factory seats. And I always like the look of a non-console car. Plus, I didn't have the money to spend on buying a complete console and putting in it, so we just went with the non-console look. This is a cool touch. I don't know if my dad put that in there or the guy that had it before him, but it's got prism tape around the 8-track player. Some odometer gauges in it. That's good, buddy. But it's, you know, still got the Malibu dash. I did, this is pretty cool. I can't remember the name of this company that makes this, but they've got it in Original Parts Group's catalog, where you can take where the clock would be on this car and put that little tack in there. That's pretty sweet. I kind of like that. It looks factory. And I didn't really want a big tack. I mean, that'd be cool too, but that's kind of sleeper. I got my odometer cheapy gauges under the dash. Put new carpet in it. Got the original looking loop style carpeting. One of the other real things on this interior I like to do, the steering wheel's kind of rough. It's cracking. I don't know if you can see that. So I'd like to get a different steering wheel to put in it. The headliner's got one hole right there. Other than that, the interior, the door panels and everything are really nice. Back seat's nice. So we'll probably just leave it like it is for a while. Like I said, maybe put a steering wheel in it. Oh, this dash has got I'm guessing when the guy hit the cow was when that happened. His knee must have slammed into the dash and busted it. I've got that piece. I need to epoxy it or something, put it back in there.
What does that say?
That says brake release. That's for the parking brake. All right. What else can we talk about, Keaton? Want to look in the trunk? Here. Oh, whenever we took the carpet out, it sat in that pole barn for so long it was moldy and the carpet was just nasty. So I decided to take it out, and when I did, I found a few spots of rust under the carpet, right along where the crossmembers are underneath the floor pans. So I had to do a little bit of floor pan patching there. It wasn't bad. I just tore the floor pan and cut out what I needed. I had a little bit of prior experience on that with I got an 87 Ford pickup over here that maybe we'll do a video on it. But I put full floor pans basically in it. Back here we've got this cool sign we had made to display at car shows about my dad. I did have that's the original spare tire, or spare wheel. I went ahead and put this tire on there. just in case we got out somewhere. Restored the jack and the jack handle, they're all down. It's cool they make all this stuff. I mean, you just order it. The jack handle was missing, so I ordered that, but the painted the jack up. Got all that in there in case, oh, I didn't have this little thing, this little hold down deal. Didn't have that. But this is probably one of our projects we need to get on. Is get in here, Keaton, can you see that? I don't know, they gotta get that. Oh yeah, we got some rust in the, got a spot there. Maybe way back here there's a little, that might actually just be surface rust, but there's a spot on the other side too, so may have to patch that up. And I'd like to repaint this trunk. All the seals are old and original and cracked. We need to take those out and replace them so it doesn't. My goal is just make this car, keep it like it is. Keaton's going to inherit it someday and he can maybe paint it what color he wants, but this is how it's always looked. Part of me wants to paint it back black or maybe the original orange or something, but this is how my dad had it. I'll probably leave it like that, and Keaton can paint it someday when he's a doctor making big money. But the body's pretty, the only rust on it is right here in front of the wheels. And that's been on there since I was in high school. Got some rust there, and then there's one, I don't remember if it's this side, I think it's this side. We got a little, just a bubble or two starting. So I just try not to get it wet anymore, and I wash it. Usually I wash it in the spring, and then I just spray wax it all year until maybe later in the season I'll wash it again. But I just try not to get it wet any more than I have to, because you get water in this vinyl top, it holds right in here. I know there's rust under there, it's gotta be. So just kind of try to preserve it as what my dad was, and hopefully people think that's cool. I don't know. I'm sure people go to the car show and be like, oh, paint sucks on this car, but I think it's cool. Patina's in. So, anything to add, Keaton? I'd also like to recreate this picture. This was in Worthington, Indiana, where we lived until I was 3. I thought about taking this car over there and pulling up in the driveway and getting me an old trucker hat or something, like my dad had on here. Grow me out a mustache, recreating that picture. Anyway. Like, share, and subscribe and all that crap. YouTubers. Thanks for watching. Keaton, you got anything to say?
Stay tuned for more videos.
Do it for Dale. No, we can't copy off Cletus. Got one more thing here. It's kind of cool about the Chevelle. Whenever I took the interior out, I thought I might find my build sheet. So I found this. This is the build sheet to my car. I found it under the back seat. Built in the Kansas City plant. It was destined for Al Hanout Incorporated, 209 North Park Boulevard, Lake Orion, Michigan. So this car came from Michigan. It's in Indiana now. I don't know how it got here or what happened, but it's just kind of your basic Malibu Chevelle. Had the power drum brakes, 256 gears, vinyl roof. Just kind of, it's neat to have that. Just tells you the interior codes and build date, all that cool stuff. Power steering. Would have had the white wall tires, 2-barrel L65. That's what I was trying to think of earlier, 350. So it was just a 2-barrel. Had a 4-barrel carburetor on it whenever I got it. I don't know if my dad put that on or previous owner, but I tracked down the codes on that quadrajet carburetor. It actually came off a truck, like a 73 454 truck. But anyway, found this. It was kind of wadded up under the, you can kind of see here where it was stuck in the springs on the back seat. So I found that, like, oh, that's cool. Well, I get to look, and there's another one. This one's in pretty bad shape, but it was wadded up in the corner. And it's I thought it was doing another Chevelle, but I ended up putting it online on a Chevelle Facebook page, and got pointed out that it was to El Camino. So this car must have been like right behind mine on the line or something. It says it's a customer order, so somebody ordered this El Camino. It would have been a slick looking car. It was blue, black interior, disc brakes, tinted glass, door edge guards, heavy duty suspension, automatic, had the 350. I don't know what wheels this would have been, but heavy duty battery, AM radio. I mean, it was fairly decked out. Heavy duty radiator, and it was bound for Plymouth, Wisconsin, Joe Van Horn Chevrolet. So maybe somebody will see this and this will be their car. Is this the serial number or VIN number? Or is this? I think this is the VIN number. Seems like maybe. I believe so. Anyway, if this is your El Camino, send me proof and I'll send you this. This is your build sheet.